like tropical porridge, I guess. I'm gonna record a second vlog this weekend because I've had so many new subscribers recently, so like, welcome to the channel. We've actually just hit 5,000 today, which is insane. I've been getting quite a few questions in, so I thought I'd just record a quick kind of Q&A. Normally I just record one video a week and post it at the weekends, but this week I'll just do two. Okay, I've got quite a few questions that I want to try and address, so I'm going to try not to like ramble on one topic too much. So someone messaged me on Instagram. One of the things you mentioned in one of your videos is how you wanted to get a Cinnabon but didn't get it the first time, but then you thought about it until you went back for it. This is something that I find myself doing rather often. I will think about something and then obsess about that food until I eat it. Yes. After eating the food, I feel incredibly guilty about it. Do you ever have the feelings of guilt around a food that you thought about until you let yourself eat it? If so, what is something that you do to cope with the feelings of guilt? I'm finding it very difficult to come up with a coping method for this. Oh, yes. I definitely get guilt around food. Like, I hope I don't make it look like I challenge myself with new foods and it's easy, because it never is. Honestly, you can't wait until it feels easy to challenge these foods, because you've got rules in your head and fears and faulty associations that are just, it's never going to make it easy. So I'd say that's the first thing, is like, don't wait until you feel ready. Like, you have to force this. And I think something that's helped me is expecting to feel guilt. Like, don't think you're going to eat it and it's going to be fine. Like, know that it is going to feel hard. And then when that does happen, I try to remind myself, like, why am I doing all this? What's my goal? What are like the benefits of getting well and the shittiness of being ill? I love my hair growing back and being more connected with people and having a bit more freedom around food. And I hate being trapped in this little isolated anorexia bubble on my own. I hate being cold and tired and obsessed with food all the time. I actually went through a stage of writing out my kind of incentives and goals every single time I ate, just to really connect myself with like what I'm doing in the now with where I want to be in the future. Because we get so caught in the now and like, oh my God, I feel so guilty, I just want to fix that. But when you act on that, you're never getting yourself to where you want to be in your goal state, because you're just repeating the same behaviors day in, day out. So those days will add up to your whole life, and then you've spent your whole life in anorexia. But I also know, like, these things are not gonna perfectly work. They're not ever gonna make challenging a Cinnabon or a new food or anything easy. You will just feel guilty. So then when I'm feeling guilty, I try to like distract myself and maybe go and talk to someone, be with other people, listen to a podcast or watch a recovery vlog, try arts and crafts. I quite like watching comedians, do a crossword or a Sudoku, something that like really needs your brain but doesn't require too much brain power. And your distractions, again, won't completely eliminate this guilt, but the really important thing is don't act on it. So don't compensate in your next meal to make up for what you've just had. Don't go and exercise. Don't do whatever compensatory strategy you would use to basically get rid of what you've just done. Because remember, like, we were expecting to feel guilty. We knew this wasn't going to be easy. So now you're in that guilt and you basically just need to ride it out. I'm really sorry. I honestly think it's just tolerate and know that it won't last forever. Like, guilt, anxiety, everything kind of has a shelf life. It doesn't just go up and up and up and you're going to feel guilty for the rest of your life. Like, it does tailor off, and then eventually it just kind of goes away. And then repeat. Like, do that again and again and again. Feel guilty, remember your goal, distract yourself, tolerate it, don't compensate, repeat. And eventually you'll do it a number of times, and then suddenly you'll be like, oh, I actually don't feel guilty about this anymore, and you weren't as anxious before, you don't feel bad afterwards. It's just, I think you just realise nothing bad happens. All these things you thought were going to happen, like you'd gain loads of weight, your legs would get fat, or whatever body part you're concerned about, you'd eat it forever and ever and ever, you'll just eternally balloon. Like, none of these things happen. These are just foods. We've built them up in our minds to be scary, and we've built faulty connections like this food equals fat or something equals weight gain, but like, it doesn't. And the only way you'll learn it doesn't is through exposure and through doing it. So yeah, expect guilt, tolerate guilt, remember your why, try to distract yourself, do not compensate, so important, and then repeat and repeat and repeat until it gets easier, which I promise it will, but you have to do these things to learn that they're not bad. And it'll take a while. Like, we're literally rewiring our brains here. We've got very well practiced neural pathways that tell us that food is scary, weight gain is terrible, I don't know, whatever. And it's only through practicing different behaviors that we're building new neural pathways, but that doesn't happen the first time you do it. So you're practicing a new behavior whilst you've still got your old neural pathway in place. So it's gonna feel shit the first few times because everything in your being is saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do it. And you're doing it anyway because you want a better life. So the first few times is going to be horrible because you're rewiring your brain basically and relearning, but do it, just repeat, keep practicing, keep exposing yourself, and your brain will rewire. And then when it has, you'll do these things no problem because you'll have learned, oh, nothing bad happens when I eat my Cinnabon, pour peanut butter on my porridge, make porridge with milk, anything that you're scared of. Someone sent me a quote of the only way past it is through it, or something like that. But I think it's so true. Like, the only way you'll be able to eat these foods without worrying is to do it. Okay, someone else on Instagram said, I have such a difficult time personally in social situations. As of now, social situations seem to fuel my eating disorder because of my anxiety. May I ask if you ever had a time in recovery where you just separated from friends and people in order to regain some inner strength so that you could reach that next level of recovery? Yes, I absolutely have had to do this. So when I was very ill, I had no interest in friends at all. I wasn't interested in what they were talking about. If I was talking to them, I was probably more than half thinking about my food and what I was eating, or even what they were eating. Socializing normally involves food or drink. I was always trying to avoid that, like turning up to a barbecue late, saying I've eaten before, or if I was going to eat with them, it would take intense planning to like know what was on a menu or have restricted in the day to make up for it. I was always just compensating, feeling incredibly anxious and not being interested in anything that was happening. It's terrible. But I guess it makes sense. Like, if we're in physical, mental starvation, like, our brain's not going to be going, oh, just pop over and see a mate. Our brain's like, please go and eat, please go and eat. So it's just going to make you think about food all the time, and all it wants you to do is eat. So it's not prioritizing socializing or freeing up headspace for like interest in others or even interest in your own hobbies and stuff. Literally all your brain wants is food. And until I had that and I'd been gaining some weight, yeah, I at first had no interest in friends at all. But then as I was like moving on with my recovery, I have always tried to still keep seeing my friends because I think it's an important part of being healthy, and it can be really nice to like be connected with other people. I think it can kind of break us out of our own headspace a little bit. And like, if you're friends with some quite cool, open-minded, like not body-focused people, that's been such a help in my recovery to realize like, oh, there is a world outside what goes on in my tiny little bubble and inside my head. And when I respect other people and think, oh my God, she looks so cool eating a burger or drinking a pint of cider, then I'm like, that's kind of what I want to do with my life. So it has helped in my recovery, bringing socializing in. But like, when you're on weight gain and you're eating a shit ton of food and your digestion's not working properly and you're like bloated, or maybe you've had a big weight gain that week, or you're trying a new fear food, or like your emotions are coming back, oh my God, there's so much in recovery that's just so hard to deal with. And again, like, prioritizing socializing, just, it can be so difficult because you're going through so much. So there were a lot of times when I've had to cancel on friends just because I just was not in the right headspace to go and talk to another person. And I think you kind of need to be selfish in your recovery. Like, your recovery has to come first. There will be plenty of opportunities to go and socialize when you're doing better and you're healthier physically and mentally. But you've got to get yourself to that point. So like, if you find you're restricting or compensating before or after seeing friends, or someone's really triggering you, maybe they've got funny things with food and exercise, or if you're generally just very upset or feeling very uncomfortable, like bloated, whatever, like, just prioritize your recovery in those times. Like, it just has to come first. So yeah, I did still try, but I've ended up cancelling friends an awful lot. And my very good friends, I actually told them, like, look, this is going on at the moment, so I'll try and see you, but if it doesn't work, like, I'm sorry, but this won't be forever again. None of this is forever. Like, it's just something you're going through now to get to a point where you can freely go out and enjoy yourself with your friends. I've had this one lunch with a friend and I was going to Costa to order this like salad bowl thing, and I'd been prepping myself all day, like, do not order lettuce, you're having pasta salad and chicken and whatever. Like, I'd really got myself ready. So I ordered my chicken pasta pesto, great. And then when I started eating it, I realized there was cheese in it. And so I started having this freak out, like, oh my God, this is more than I expected. I've got 2 fat sauces in this meal, blah, blah, blah. Like, your head gets carried away. And I was literally sat with this friend who I wasn't good enough friends with to tell her what was going on, trying to focus on what she was saying, whilst inside my head, it was like this massive guilt anxiety attack. And yeah, it was a really horrible lunch. And then afterwards I was freaking out. Like, it's not always going to be easy, but again, I think it's one of those things you have to just do it and have a meal that's unexpected and realize nothing bad happens. Don't compensate, realize nothing bad happens, go and do it again. Like, again, the only way through it is to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And also, you might go for lunch with someone who orders a salad and you're ordering panini and chips. Like, there are so many triggering, difficult situations with socializing and food and drink, but like, they're never just going to be easy. It's the same thing. You have to do it and repeat it and not compensate and maybe feel a bit shit, but just keep repeating. And then you'll just get to a point when you're like, oh, it's got cheese in, I didn't expect it, or she's got a salad and I've got a burger. Like, fucking YOLO. And now in my recovery, like, I'm not recovered, but I love going out with friends. It's a really like big part of my life now. And it's still not easy for me if I'm ordering a proper meal and someone else has a salad, but like, I'm still doing it. And I think with just time and consistent challenging and weight gain and like expanding the foods I'm able to eat, it's just getting easier and easier. I think because I've got a bit more headspace as well, and I'm not as terrified of food, like, it's kind of like, well, what do you fill that headspace with? So I actually kind of crave social contact at the moment. And yeah, I love going out with my friends. I want to see them all the time. I guess my priorities have changed. So before, if we were out for dinner, my priority would be to dodge calories, basically, like order the minimum, miss things out. But that's just not my priority anymore. Like, I can order things with chips instead of boiled potatoes or whatever. So I don't go into a restaurant with that anxiety and panic of what am I going to be able to order and what are they doing to my food. Like, I actually don't care. Like, I go into a restaurant thinking I can't wait to see my friends, and then I just, yeah, enjoy spending time with them. I'm really struggling to not waffle with my answers. Okay, one more question. So this one was from YouTube. I would love to hear in a future video of any tips for eating enough when just not feeling hungry and at the same time super busy. I have young kids. Also, all the small things, advantages you'd notice when restoring your weight and overcoming restrictive thoughts. Okay, let me try this first part without waffling. So it's really hard to eat when you're feeling like bloated, full, just not interested in food, sick, stomach cramps, or you're busy. Like, there's always something that makes eating difficult. One of the things I think is so cruel in recovery is that we kind of have to act well in a body and a mind that's still ill. So like in our mind, we have to eat a load of foods that we're terrified of and break rules that we've held for however long around not being allowed to eat them. And then in our body, we have to eat these bigger portions of food in a stomach that's shrunk down and with a digestive system that still doesn't really know what it's doing with the food. And again, the shitty part is the only way either of those will fix and readjust is through exposure. So I've been taught, like, you can't rely on your body signals, basically. You almost have to go on autopilot and just eat regardless. And I've actually recorded some videos where I've been finishing a Frappuccino and felt quite sick and just made myself finish the rest of it anyway. And people have said, like, well, if you're feeling sick, shouldn't you be listening to that? But for me, no, like, I've gone on autopilot. Whatever my body's telling me, I just make sure I stick to my meal plan. Because I can't trust my body. Like, it's going to be really full. It's not going to tolerate all food groups perfectly because it's not been exposed to them. And also for my mind, like, if I start leaving something, even if I legitimately feel sick and leave it, the next day when I'm not feeling sick, I'll think I have to match what I did the day before. So for me, it's really helped to like go into autopilot, and whatever my body and mind are doing, like, remember that I have to act well even though they're not well at the moment. And it's only through exposure that my body and mind are going to reheal, relearn, rewire, readjust, relearn to tolerate food. Like, the whole package of wellness, they'll only get there through exposure. And also remember, it won't last forever. Like, they are relearning. So yeah, I just think these foods are non-negotiable. They're what you need at the moment. And there are things you can do to help, like if you're feeling very full or bloated or in pain, like wear comfy clothing, get a hot water bottle, maybe try to distract yourself. But whatever you do, you just have to stick to what you need to do, and you're only going to get to the other side by pushing through all of this. And it will never be easy, but it won't last forever. Oh, and the other part was about being super busy. So anorexia loves that because it's a nice reason why, oh, I can't eat because I'm really, really busy. But like, recovery is your priority. So I went through a period in work where I was really busy, and I used to like plan out what I was going to eat the night before, and I'd actually write the times I was going to eat it as well, which is very rigid and what I was trying to break away from. But at the time I needed it to force myself to commit to my plan and to eat. And for me, it broke that anxiety around like decision making and should I have it now, or no, I'm a bit busy now, I'll do it in half an hour, but then in half an hour you're too close to lunch, so now I'll just wait till lunch. Like when I was busy, I found it really helpful to plan my food out so that I knew what I'd committed to and what I was going to stick to, and then I made time to do it. And I know I don't have children, so I don't have like random busyness popping up at me. But I'm sure being well for them will be like a massive incentive of recovery. So you just have to do it. Like, plan your times out, choose high calorie food so you're getting it in. And like, I don't have children, but it's a big goal for me in my recovery. And I know as a parent, you want to be like present for your children and a good role model for them and healthy for them. So like, you just have to do it. Anorexia or your eating disorder will always have a reason why you can't do something now, or I can't eat that food or whatever. But like, you actually can, you just have to make yourself do it. Okay, I'm so sorry for waffling so badly. I had other questions, but I just spoken too much. But let me know what you want in the videos as well. Like, if you like this kind of Q&A, then tell me, send me questions, and I can do more of this kind of thing. Like, this channel's for you too, so yeah, just let me know what you like and what you want to see. And just thank you so much, everybody, for like being so kind and lovely, and like your messages on Instagram and YouTube. Just, yeah, thank you. Lots of love to everyone, and I'll record again soon.